Guys, it finally happened. Sennheiser released the HD 500 BAM. And I feel like Emeril Lagasse whenever I say BAM. BAM stands for boom arm microphone. And what's cool about this is it's a $60 solution from Sennheiser. Sennheiser makes amazing headphones and they make amazing microphones. So them embracing the two together as one unit to provide you with a kick-ass gaming headset or chat communicator if you take Teams calls during the day. Now you don't have to switch audio gear. You can enjoy their favorite Sennheiser headphone of choice, provided this microphone attaches to it, and then hop on a call or game later at night and enjoy that too. Of course, this isn't the first and only solution that's come out for this series of headphones, but it's just nice to see from a first-party perspective, and I hope that it represents the direction that Sennheiser's going to embrace the gaming side more again, because we had the EPOS division before, which was their gaming line. It got sold off, and then EPOS shuttered the gaming division. So we've kind of been left in a void for future development on like wired premium headsets and headphones. So it's nice that there's a $60 option to basically keep that energy going. And I hope it represents something that could be coming down the road again if they keep leaning into the gaming side. As far as what's included in the box, it's super simple. This is a TRRS termination, which means you can plug it into a console controller. You can plug it into anything with a combo jack. And if you don't have a 3.5 combo jack, it comes with a breakout cable that basically turns your 3.5 combo port, this single plug, into a dual 3.5 for both your headphone and your microphone connection. This is only a 5-foot cord, so if you're plugging into the back of a desktop tower, just keep in mind this might be a little bit tight to reach back there. So if you need to extend this, I just recommend like a 3 or 5 foot TRRS extension cable. Plug it into this first, and then connect it to this splitter from there. You get a couple extra foam socks included in the box as well. There's one already pre-installed on the microphone because these things can break down over time, and frankly, they can just get a little bit nasty. It's something in front of your mouth. So this is a good long-term investment. Maybe they just pop off and you lose one, so it's always good to have backup. This has an inline mic mute and volume wheel. It's a very tiny volume wheel. I usually recommend just leaving it on full volume and adjusting the volume on the source side, but I think it's small enough so you don't accidentally bump it on your shirt. Otherwise, it is a nice thing to have just as far as convenience goes. And then, of course, having a physical hard switch for your mic mute is nice. And when it's in the up position, it's muted. Pull it back down to start talking again.
So now I'm talking to you on the HD 500 BAM. And the voicing of this is nice. It's really smooth. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Samson Q9X microphone that I've tested before on the XLR side of things. This isn't an overly analytical or sharp sounding mic. It doesn't sound overly warm. It's just super neutral and clean. It's also extremely sensitive. I have my gain on my MacBook Pro set to less than 20%. I'm talking a little bit loud, obviously, for the video, but even if I talk more normal, you can hear what this sounds like. I'm not overloading the capsule. There's a huge dynamic range with this, and it also has really good noise rejection due to the pickup pattern if you're concerned with that. There is a little bit of handling noise on the cables. So if you're grabbing this to adjust the volume or mute, you can kind of hear some noise in the background. The mute switch itself is pretty quiet. A little bit of a tiny pop. That's normal with any analog connection that you're breaking because there's a shared ground with the audio side of things, but overall pretty clean. There aren't any new microphonics issues being introduced with the cable, so if you're used to your stock cable that came with your Sennheiser headphone, because this is also a rubber cable, don't expect any changes there. Just to summarize the performance of this, I don't think the clarity is like super class leading. It's just a smooth mic, and one of the other benefits is the noise rejection capability and the build quality. Some other mics might have an edge on terms of value just on the sound quality department, but if this is anything like other Sennheiser products in the past, I do feel this is going to hold up for a long period of time, where I can't always confidently say that with some of the other less expensive options. So this wouldn't be a Gadgetry Tech video if I didn't make comparisons to some other competing products out there, and this is the Ablet microphone I bought from Amazon, or Ablet, I don't know. It's $17, it's dirt cheap. I had to boost the gain up to 50% to have comparable volume. And overall, it's not a bad mic. It sounds a little bit thinner. It's not as warm or full sounding as the Sennheiser one, which is to be expected because the microphone capsule is much smaller. The boom arm itself works fine, but you do have to tweak it more often. This is a very thin, lightweight microphone, so just by handling it, you might just have to constantly tweak this so it's in the right spot. Aside from that, for the price, it's an excellent value. The mic mute switch works really well also. So not too bad. The clicks are minimal. I always test that because some mic switches could be an absolute nightmare, but I'm pleased to see how well this one performs. So I stopped the fun at 2 microphone tests, and I decided to bring out the Antlion ModMic Uni 2. Now this is the 2. It retails for $60. They have the 2 Plus now, which is $65. The only difference is the adhesives are improved, Adhesives, because even though this easily works on the HD560S, this is something I've had mounted to this for a long time. This guy mounts to any headphone that you're comfortable putting adhesive on. Basically, there's an adhesive disc that you mount after cleaning your headphone, and there's a magnetic attachment. You can see that I can pull it off the headphone and still talk into it, obviously just fine, but that's not obviously what it's meant for. So we're going to put that back on. Obviously a little bit of a noise when I mounted it to the chassis. This is a more cumbersome process. You have to basically join two lines because it's completely just adding on to what you have. It's not replacing the cables you're already using. It basically just runs a dedicated mic line, kind of like when I was talking about the breakout cable before, and then Antlion offers the opposite of this, where it takes the line output of the microphone and your headphone connection, and it can merge it back into one to create a TRRS connector, which will again work on console controllers, laptops, you name it. The microphone muting mechanism on this one is noticeably noisier. It might just be because of the ground issue, because I'm going to a reverse splitter where everything's being combined and they're originally two separate lines, so I'm going to mute it now. It's noticeably louder. I likely added or subtracted some gain in post-production because I don't want to make a really loud pop or risk damaging your hearing. The voicing on this microphone is excellent as well. It's much closer to the Sennheiser mic than this less expensive one. Good performer, very universal. I just wanted to hear the voicing differences so you knew what would work on the HD500 series chassis and those few other models. All right, now I'm talking to you on the V-Moda Boom Pro, which is only $20 and represents an exceptional value in sound quality, tonal balance, all of that. It just sounds so good for 20 bucks, but there are a couple drawbacks. For one, it has poor noise rejection. So if you're in a noisy environment, this really does nothing to block any of that. Part of why this sounds as good as it does is because it doesn't have a cardioid pickup pattern. It's completely open, and that can help with clarity. But if you're typing on a keyboard, someone's in the background, this is going to pick all of that up. It's not the end of the world if you're using solutions like Discord's CRISPR technology to get rid of background noise, or if you're on a Teams call, they often have noise rejection themselves. But if you don't have the advantage of running noise rejection software, keep in mind people are going to hear everything happening in your room, breathing, typing, you name it. One other potential downside with this is if you're shopping this exclusively for the Sennheiser product stack that I've talked about so far, you have to get an adapter, and anytime you're dealing with multiple connections, you can increase the chance of cable noise or problems with the connection. But also the big killer is it doesn't lock into place. This is just connected to a 3.5 connection, so it can spin more freely. It works great on something like the Focal Odd and Ease. It's honestly pretty secure, and I have no real issues with it. But if you get with something like the HD500 BAM, that will lock in place, and I'll have a more traditional, typical feeling headset vibe where everything feels more intentional for where it's placed. The mute switch is really quiet on this as well, no real loud noises. It is the opposite direction. When the switch is up, your mic is on, and when it's down, it's muted. So it's just backwards from Sennheiser, but it's just all, I guess, on how you think about it. All right, and now I'm talking on the Meze Boom mic, which is a little bit more expensive. It's $80, and it has a dual 3.5mm termination, so it won't plug in directly to something like the Sennheiser models, but I did want to show you the voicing difference. This is a more analytical, brighter sounding microphone. The noise rejection is pretty good considering how bright and clear it is, but the termination design is better suited for certain headphones like the Meze Audio lineup, HiFiMan, FIO, or the AR5000 from AIM that I've used a lot for gaming as well. If I don't typically use a Sennheiser product, those are usually my go-to. So this is my favorite mic solution for all of the other headphones out there. Volume control and mic mute switch is awesome on it. Basically like no click noise whatsoever, and then again the volume wheel feels really solid. So this is a really good option. I just wanted to present the differences in terms of clarity and voicing. And now I'm talking to you on the ZMF gaming cable, which is a more expensive solution, but partly because, well, two reasons. One, mini XLR terminations are more expensive. It's a more robust cable connector, so the material charges are higher, and ZMF is giving you a really nice braided cable. This is obviously suited for mini XLR headphones such as the ZMF Caldera. There's a huge variety of ZMF headphones that use mini XLR, as well as many other brands such as Odyssey. The thing I want to point out with this guy, aside from the voicing differences you can clearly hear, this is a smoother, warmer sound, kind of like what Sennheiser's doing. But with the ZMF product or any mini XLR connection, you can't just rotate the connection point to position the mic exactly where you want. Everything happens with the boom. So if you buy a ZMF gaming cable, it will be better suited to ZMF products, and if you try installing this on an Odyssey product, just keep in mind you're going to have to more significantly bend the mic boom to get it in the right spot. Odyssey also makes their own gaming cable, their microphone solution, but I just wanted to point that out to consider the orientation of it. The mic mute switch on this one is pretty noisy. It's just like what I experienced with the Antlion mod mic, so I'm going to mute it now. And you can hear quite a few pops. So that happened pretty consistently. This is more of just the way the grounding cable is interacting with my laptop. It may not always do this to you in your setup. It kind of depends, but I didn't want to hide the fact that it performed that way. Now, I also wanted to talk to you on the Rode Pod Mic. This is a $100 XLR microphone solution, and there's two versions of this. So the Pod Mic with just XLR is $100, but then you need to buy an XLR cable and a microphone interface. So your total cost will easily pass $200 to $300, provided you get all the supporting gear. You also have to get a microphone boom or a tabletop mount of some kind. And keep in mind, whenever you do this, depending on your setup, if you bump the table, you're going to hear a little bit of a thump. That doesn't get picked up on a headset because it's not being anchored to the surface that you're basically hitting with your hands or interacting with. They do make a USB version of the Pod Mic, which is actually what this guy is, and you can use XLR or USB. If you use the USB version, it's $210, but you don't have to buy an XLR interface. All you have to do is worry about the mounting solution I talked about earlier. So more expensive with the mic, but no interface needed, and it can make your setup a little bit simpler. I'm not advocating to just go straight into a boom mic like this because I think there are a lot of pros and cons to this, but it's worth considering that this is a solution regardless of what headphone, IEM, or headset you use.
So at the end of the day, I think the HD500 BAM is a welcome addition to a variety of really good microphone solutions out there, regardless of what headphone or setup that you have. It's nice to see it come from first party, and although I don't think Sennheiser nailed it purely on the sound quality or clarity department for $60, they do have really good noise rejection, and the build quality is obviously there. So you are paying a little bit extra for that, but I think $60 is still fair considering what you're getting. So hopefully after watching this, you have a better idea of how the new HD500 BAM stacks up against some other options. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one. Take care.